Hello, my name is Charles Cochran. I'd like to welcome you to CNFT's review of its early morning trade recommendation for the Treasury note. This morning we came in wanting to buy a little bit lower prices, thought the market might trade lower because of structure. We were basically dealing with a B, but because of the 2-year auction, the market would not break, or we didn't feel like the market would break, and we didn't have any news that could shake up the market. So once the news was out of the way, then the dynamics of the 2-year market, 2-year auction would hold the market in check. So our buy area was 17 to 21, followed by 9 to 13 for buy 2. Our sell area started out at 27 to 31. And then we had to lower it selling against 24. So resistance we thought was at 28 to the buck, but it turns out resistance was 28, 123.24 to 28, and this became our sell zone. And it was pretty easy to see off of the setups. What did the market deal us? The market did open soft. It did trade lower. It did trade down into our buy zone, which was 17 to 21. The market was able to trade back up to the 23, 24.5 area. This is where resistance was, and basically it set up trades from both sides of the market. But this was our buy area, and you can see right here in A period, we got down into the area where we could buy 18s, and 18 was a significant number. It was a single print. The market, when it moved up through 16 to 20, left a single print at 18, and that was a good place to be a buyer. The market likes to come back and fill those in. So the idea was to be a buyer with the level 17 to 21. And you can see the low is 16. So that was a pretty good call for 6:45 Central. It's all fine and good that you have an idea on how you want to put on a trade, but you have to execute and you have to put that trade on. And in the financials, our bread and butter trade is a retest failure. The financials love to retest resistance, usually to the tick, but to give it a little room, we say plus or minus a tick. So if we have support at 16, we think the market will make it to 16.5, and we're going to try to buy 17s. That's the logic. So our first trade of the day came before the day session opened, right on the day session's opening, and you can see right here we have our retest failure. You could have entered this trade at 21 to as high as 22, and the market did trade back up to 24.5. We expect to make 2 to 3 30-seconds in the T-note. So depending on your entry, you could have made 2 to 3 30-seconds. A nice little winner. We could trade from the short side. We knew we had resistance. We thought it was at first at 28 to the buck, but it turns out resistance was 24 to 28. And so right here, this is a retest failure. Retesting this pivot point over here, we've got squares, which means the buying is drying up, and you could have been short as low as 22, so you were short from 22 to 23, and you can see the market traded down to 18. So you had your shot at 2 to 3 30-seconds. Those were our first two trades this morning in the 10-year T-note. The idea was to be a buyer first. We wanted to be long at 17 to 21. First trade came off of the low, 20.5. Second trade could have been off of a head and shoulders pattern from the long side. You could have been long from 17 all the way up to 18, and eventually the market trades back to 23. So executing out of this area right here would have been a winner. If you had taken this trade right in here off of a retest, you would have scratched that trade or been a small loser. So you'd have been right 3 out of 4 times, and if you took the minimum profit objectives, you'd have been up 6 30-seconds, and if you'd stopped out for a loss of 2 30-seconds, your profit for this particular trade, worst case scenario, would have been 4 30-seconds. And that's a nice day of trading in the T-note. That's all I have right now. If you have any questions about our setups, how we do this, our take on the market, where the trading ideas come from, where the support and resistance levels come from, please contact someone at CNFT Futures, and we'll get somebody assigned to you and get all your questions answered. Looking forward to seeing several of you in the room in the not-so-distant future.